It's been an exciting year for gamers, as the next generation of consoles has finally begun to become interesting with new releases that utilize their maximum capabilities. From Elden Ring to the upcoming Ghostwire Tokyo, there's something for everyone, but there is one release that almost every gamer has on their radar as of right now, and that is Forspoken. Let's dive deep into the details of what we know about Forspoken as of yet. First, let's talk about the trailer and delay. Before we begin, it is worth mentioning that Forspoken, being published by Square Enix, was initially known as Project Athia when we got a small hint of it in mid-2020. But then, along with its new name, Forspoken, we got more details of the game in March 2021 as part of a Square Enix livestream. The official title announcement trailer opened up with Ella Balinska, the voice and actor of our protagonist, Frey Holland, talking about how the developers have been working to create a masterpiece. Then they revealed some gameplay footage with lots of parkour, world elements, and dragons. That's right, there are dragons. It was initially announced that the game would be released in May of 2022. However, on 7th March, the official Forspoken Twitter posted a message from the development team. It stated that the developers are aiming to create an exciting new IP that would remain relevant for years to come. For that purpose, they want all the additional time needed to polish up the game and make it as great as it can possibly be. Considering all of that, the game's release has been delayed until 11th October 2022. If the extra time will allow them to create a masterpiece, then we're all down for it. Despite the delay, the game has been looking promising. From the story concept to the studio behind it, the game has been set up to succeed. Now, we have gameplay footage. As of now, we've gotten 2 gameplay footage of Forspoken. They've revealed quite a lot from the story, visuals, and combat that we'll be discussing in great depth. The latest trailer was revealed as part of State of Play and has gotten fans going wild over the game. Next, the masterminds behind Forspoken. Although Square Enix might be the publisher, the game is actually being developed by an emerging studio, Luminous Productions. Formed in early 2018, Luminous Productions is a Japanese game development studio and has worked on the well-known game Final Fantasy XV. Considering the love and support that game received, Luminous Productions has established a great reputation and shown what they're capable of. And from the looks of it, they will be leaving fans mesmerized yet again. Luminous Productions has literally built the game from the ground up, as they even created a new game engine for it. The trailers so far have shown amazing visuals and fluid animations, and we can thank the Luminous engine for that. The engine has been in the works for quite some time and is practically tailored for the next generation of consoles, so we can expect it to bring us groundbreaking elements that will surpass many of the current games. Next, getting thrown into a new land. The game follows our protagonist, Frey Holland, who is just an ordinary person living a hectic and stressful life in New York with her furry white cat. Things are beginning to look bad for her after she spends time in prison where thugs would beat her up. We've seen glimpses of her personality from the trailers. She's been shown to be quite sarcastic and, in a similar fashion to superheroes like Spider-Man, makes cheesy comments. At the time of the game, she was 21. Things take a drastic turn for her one night when she's sitting on a balcony looking out in despair. A portal opens up behind her, dragging her into the magical land of Forspoken, better known as Athia. Athia is a completely new land for not just the player, but even Frey. We get to take part in the journey of exploring the secrets of this fantasy world with her, which creates a strong bond between the player and Frey. Being thrown into a completely different world is certainly overwhelming for Frey, but luckily, we're not alone. We've got a companion to guide us through the mysterious world of Athia. He literally acts as our right-hand man, as he is a talking bracelet stuck to our arm. His name is Cuff, and with his posh accent, feels like our very own Alfred from Batman. Perhaps Cuff is the best friend that Frey deserved all along. On her journey to discovering a way back home, she will encounter many people, but more importantly, monsters that roam the land of Forspoken. We just hope that she can eventually get reunited with her fluffy cat, which most likely misses Frey quite a lot. Now, the world of Forspoken. The world of Forspoken is a huge element of the game. Athia is a gorgeous fantasy setting and is practically begging for us to explore it. With clever usage of photorealistic and artistic style, the developers have made each setting of the game captivating. From mountains to ruins and valleys, there is an abundance of areas that the player can swoop and leap across. Not only that, but Athia comes with a deep and interesting lore. The land of Forspoken used to be governed by matriarchs known as Tantas. Those that called Athia home respected these matriarchs, and there was a well-established order in the world. However, things began to fall apart when a catastrophic event called the Break induced chaos throughout the land. It brought monsters, beasts, and corrupted the Tantas. The Tantas, which were once peaceful and loving, are now engulfed in evil and have become vengeful sorceresses. Conveniently, Frey is not affected by the effects of the Break and is tasked to restore restore the peace. The premise is quite simple yet effective and will most likely lead to some epic boss fights. Up next, magical abilities and monstrous enemies. As mentioned, the break brought monsters into the lands of Athia, and it appears that Frey will be having a lot of encounters with them as shown by the trailers. Dragons are a common occurrence throughout both the gameplay trailers that we've received, but more importantly, the way you deal with them is quite intriguing as there is magic involved. A lot of magic. Many of the enemies tend to have some sort of elemental progression system added to them. The trailers have shown monsters with electrical abilities, hard rocky surfaces, and even enemies that are completely soaked in molten lava. Gamers can get excited for some insane moments with a lot of combat. Now we have the fluid combat. Coming on to combat, the developers did an excellent job. Not only that, but the trailers did not shy away from highlighting the crazy action that follows Frey's adventures. The combat seems to be a good blend between real-time combat as well as typical RPG magic and damage points being involved. If you're familiar with the infamous franchise, the combat may seem familiar with elemental abilities and lots of fireworks. The trailers show Frey shooting electrical beams out of her hand as she traversed around all of her enemies. Additionally, she completely annihilated an enemy with a special move of sorts that shredded the land apart with a fiery explosion. There were other combat abilities shown as well, such as a magical whip that she can use for crowd control and ranged attacks. Another ability showcased her producing a force to push back enemies. But that's not all. The game adds true RPG elements by letting players work with other items, such as traps, and a well-developed skill tree. Players can drop traps in the middle of a battle to catch enemies off guard, and from each battle, one would undoubtedly gain experience points that can be invested into the fairly modern and polished-looking statistics screen. With all these mechanics, fans should gear up for an amazing time. Next, traversing the land. Perhaps what makes Forspoken unique and stand out from the rest of the games is its traversal mechanics. The magical land of Athia brings a magical mode of travel, as Frey has been often seen parkouring around the world. With a touch of magic in her feet, she can move at an extraordinarily fast pace and leap far across into the sky. Frey is quite athletic as she flips around whilst moving around her enemies. Furthermore, she's able to cross large bodies of water by surfing across them with her bare feet, and of course, magic. In general, the traversal mechanics are a huge highlight of the game, and we cannot wait to explore the land with them. Lastly, the graphics. To simply say that the graphics of the game look good would be a huge understatement. They're not just good, they're phenomenal. The stunning visuals and the diversity in the environments are simply breathtaking. There does not seem to be a single dull moment, from the glimmering trail out of Frey's shoes to the sparks of battle. Everything looks well made and polished. Additionally, the developers plan on using the ray tracing of PS5, which has been reported to be as good as the ray tracing on PC, but we'll have to wait to see how it all turns out. That's a wrap for this video. What elements of Forspoken have caught your attention? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.